And hello and welcome everyone to EBC Live. I'm Laura Rubinstein, digital media and marketing strategist, and really excited to host today Danielle Gutierrez. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So, our topic today, getting right in, jump to it, is mindfulness in career and business. So, why don't you tell us first a little bit about you, and then we'll hop into a little bit about mindfulness and your philosophy.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm an international speaker, business, life, master business life coach, and I take people on journeys around the world. That's really the majority of what I do. I'm really happy about that.
Wow, and how did you get into that?
That's interesting. I grew up helping build a little bitty business called Best Buy Electronics. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. And I worked with them for a while and was just tired of the hustle and bustle. I mean, I was very successful with them. I didn't have any reason to leave them, but it was a grind for me. And so I really was looking for what is my journey? What is my path? Where am I supposed to be going? How do I serve this human community? And so I quit and I started doing what I'm doing now. And I've been doing this 23 years now.
Wow. So from Best Buy to mindfulness.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty.
and people actually, someone did an interview recently and said, "Oh, you're like from the boardroom to Medicine Man and back." I said, "Okay."
And back, let's talk about the back. But before we even get to that, this word mindfulness has become like a buzzword out there.
Yes.
I'm seeing it everywhere, whether it be with nurses taking mindfulness classes, in career development conferences. There are mindfulness coaches out there. There are books and people on talk shows. Why don't you hone in on what mindfulness means to you?
Okay. Yeah, and there's even it's even in our TV shows and our commercials. I mean, you hear it, and you go, "Wow, when did that get there?" Right? Well, mindfulness is very simple, and it's like right now could be like flavor of the month. You know, people get all excited about something, they get behind it. If a coat is the flavor of the month, and then eventually you don't wear that coat anymore, it just hangs in the closet. But with mindfulness, it can be very dangerous because mindfulness, uh, taken to the nth degree, could be, oh, I'm just going to do this for a little while and then quit. But that has an effect on the psyche of the brain. It has an effect on you. And so it's not flavor of the month. It is a way of life. It is a way of being. And that way of being is becoming more aware. Mindfulness is a big fancy word for awareness. That's all that means is, can I be present in the moment that I'm in right now? So you're watching this broadcast. Are you present, or are you typing, or are you answering the phone? So put it down. Now, so whatever you're doing is not mindful, right? And so mindfulness is awareness. And the more we can be aware, that's why it can be a little dangerous, because I call that institutionalized mindfulness, where we feel that a certain guru or a certain teacher or a certain product becomes the the essence of what we're seeking, when really mindfulness is just about you and about keeping centered in the present moment.
So why is that important? Well, I hear that and I think about somebody who's never thought about mindfulness or awareness before. And what's the benefit of being that mindful or aware in the moment?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that we have to think about. Everybody in their life has been mindful. They may not have known that, but they were being mindful. When we set an intention, not a goal, not a resolution, an intention. When we set an intention that's followed by commitment, I would say that 99.99% of the time we achieve that intentionality. In order to reach that, you must be mindful. You must be in the present moment, because all of a sudden life starts to pass by you and everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, to see what is your commitment to this intention that you set. So it's very important that we learn to stay present. And the benefits of it is that we begin to recognize and realize that whatever we see as being fear, doubt, and disbelief is an illusion that we create when we're not present. And I'll give you this really cool quote that I heard recently on the Amy Weingard movie. She passed away at 20 something, and she was working with Tony Bennett. at the time, and they asked Tony Bennett, what would you have said to her? And he says, oh, life has a way of teaching you how to live it if you just live long enough. And it's in a beautiful quote, because what he was saying is, when the benefits of staying present is not just that I'm present, it brings down your heart rate, it brings down your anxiety, it brings down all these things that are very important in our life in order to achieve success.
I love that. I love the ideas of really tapping into the benefits of being present, being more healthy, more
Sure.
calm and peaceful. And so that's why we do it. And to live life fully is what I'm really hearing from you. And by the way, speaking of living life fully, we have some people with us live and present. Gail Watson, shout out to you, and B. Lee. And for those of you who are here, if you have questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat box or the comments area below. We definitely want to engage with you. We are so glad you're here and present with us, being mindful about mindfulness with Daniel. So thank you, Daniel. So now let's get into mindfulness a little deeper here. How have you been able to prove that it is important? Mindfulness, this awareness, being present is really important to business and in our business lives.
I'll give you an example, case study, as they would say in corporate, a case study. I had a client last year who owned a big business. I'm not going to tell you the kind of, but it was a big business, and she wanted to sell it. And I remember her and I meeting, and she said to me, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm kind of bored with my business. Maybe I need to sell it. And she went on to tell me about what she was going on. And finally, I said, write down everything that you want to accomplish in this year. It was the beginning of last year. And one of those things was selling her business. And I said, okay, but you give me a dollar amount for what you want to sell it. She gave me the dollar amount. And I said to her, okay, so listen, you're going to think I probably lost my marbles, but just trust me on this one. Whatever it is that you need to know to sell this business, I'm not going to teach you. You see, the problem that you have is not that you don't know your business. I don't know your business, and I don't want to become an expert at it. What I do know is that you can't stay focused. You can't stay in the moment, and you can't fight off fear, doubt, and disbelief if you're constantly, kind of circling and playing around with anything other than what it is you want to accomplish. And that takes work. That is work, by the way. When you think about being present almost every second of the day, and this brings up these ideas of yoga and meditation. All that stuff's great, but if you do it for 5 minutes a day and then you go out on the freeway and flip somebody off, you just kind of blew the whole thing. It doesn't work. You got to do this more often. So I worked with this client for 1 year, and all I had to do is, when we would coach, is I would say, now be present. Tell me what's going on, and then be present. Tell me what's going on. And I just kept doing that. And I just said, now bring it back into the present moment. Listen to what you just said. Listen to what's going on. Pay attention to what's happening in your life. And at the end of the year, she not only got everything that she set out to get in that year, she sold the business for 3 times the amount of money she wanted. Nice. So it wasn't that life wasn't there for her. It was that she didn't know how to focus enough her talent and her skill to get where she wanted to go. And I believe that's true about any company. I believe that's true about any executive. I believe that's true about any individual or any entrepreneur. It is all about being able to say, when life gets tough, and you know what, folks, I'm a motivational speaker, and I'll tell you, life gets tough. It gets tough. Our ability to get focused in the moment and recognize that it's just that. Someone told me the other day that I regret my life and I love my life, and somewhere in the middle, these 2 lines cross, and that dot is really what is. It's just life, right? That's where we are. So that is an example of somebody who I was just able to show. And every time I helped her, and I work with a sacred wood called Palo Santo. I use it to help rewire the brain. And so I would have her light. It's kind of an incense that's used in South America. And she would go, Daniel, you want me to do what? And I would say, I just want you to program yourself that when you smell this fragrance, it brings you back into the present moment. It brings you back, and you keep doing that, until you've made it through the entire year and see what happens. And so that's a case study where we were able to get those kind of results. The same thing has happened from, I'll give you a real quick example of a corporate situation where a young lady wanted a job that was making, I think she said 95,000, she was making 65. And I said, okay, let's get present. Let's really think about what are the steps that you need to take to get where you want to go, and let's just see if we can stay present. Well, she not only got the job, she got stock options. She was able to take her dog to school. To work. It was an amazing process to watch this happen. So it is possible.
Wow. So you mean to tell me what I heard from your case study, your first one, was that mindfulness isn't just learned in a 30-minute class or lecture?
Oh gosh, that is what I call institutionalized, right? I take a 30-minute class, and guess what? I'm a certified mindfulness what? I don't know, but no, this is a life change, just like diet. If you want to lose weight, you don't go out there and not eat a hamburger for one day and you lose 10 pounds. You change your weight, your lifestyle. This is a lifestyle change where you do it more than not.
And like Neil Thressel, who's also listening, and shout out to you, Neil. Thanks for being here. He says being fully present takes dedication.
Yes, it's work. It's work. Yeah,
it's a great thought. Thank you, Neil, for that. And so what I'm really hearing is a distinction here. There's people throwing around the word mindfulness, but I know you have a distinction called radical mindfulness, and I'm guessing that's what you're talking about with these two case studies, with the whole practice, what you live and breathe. Is that right? What's the difference?
Well, radical mindfulness to me is being able to be so present that you put the ego mind to bay, that it's no longer running you, that you are clearly present in the moment, the only space and the only time where we have power as human beings. We have no power in the past, and we have no power in the future. We have power in the present moment. And in that present moment, we can choose to make decisions that create the kinds of results that we want in the following moment. Now, a very quick example of radical mindfulness. My mother passed away last month, or in February. And one of the most amazing things that I experienced with her is that while I was sitting in the hospital room, just she and I was able to get so present with her that not only was I in the room, but I had the compassion to experience her dying, to experience her struggle to breathe, to experience the angst that she was going through. I was just able to be that present. I wasn't caught up in what could have, what should have, what I didn't do, what I should have done. I was so present that I felt that in my body. And because of that, I was totally complete with her passing. Because I had done all I could do in being in that moment with her. And I call that radical mindfulness, quieting the ego mind and saying, you know what, whatever it is that you have to say is going to have to wait until I'm done here. And I'm going to be present. So that's really the definition of compassion, is being able to be with someone's pain without taking it on. But in order to do that, you have to be radically present, or you end up sucking in that emotion, or you're sucking in the human condition to want to get caught up into the drama. And so that's what I call radical. And you're right. It is a moment by moment, constant calibration of your thoughts, moment by moment. And the moment that you veer off, nothing wrong with it. We all do. I do. Then the goal is to bring it back. Now, I always tell my clients, I'm a little different. The only difference between you and I is not that I'm the teacher and that you're not. It's that I'm a little bit ahead of you, and I veer off, but in a second, I'm back. Some people veer off, and 3 months later, they're back. That's the only difference. So it is a practice. What Neil was saying, it's a practice every day, and it takes commitment.
I feel like it's the mindfulness muscle you're building with every time you're bringing yourself back from being not present, it's building that muscle, and you're coming back more and more. And it's almost like what it is to be human is to be not mindful, but to bring yourself back to it is the practice. Be mindful.
And that's where the results are at. That's where the results are at. I mean, at the end of the day, let's talk about big companies. Big companies today, they did a study in America, it was the Gallup. 83% of Americans are stressed out in their jobs, and they are not engaged in their jobs. Wow, That's a big number. And that equals $550 billion losses for all these corporations because they're not staying focused. And so mindfulness plays a part in the corporate world because we're teaching them to stay focused on the task at hand so they don't get distracted. And at the end of the day, think about a day where you got a lot done in your job or in your career or in your business. You felt good about it. But when you were on Facebook, like we are now, when we were on Facebook or when we were on whatever social media or looking for our vacation, we get to the end of the day and there's almost guilt because we didn't feel like we got anything accomplished. That's where mindfulness plays a big part. And if we're losing that kind of money, it only takes just 1 minute. I call it 60 seconds. If you can give yourself 60 seconds just to stop and notice your breathing. That's not very long, folks. 60 seconds. If you do 60, you can do 120. If you do 120, you can do 180, and it just goes on from there.
I bet 60 seconds would sound like a lot if we took it right now and we just breathe for one whole minute.
Oh, yeah. It's like a red light.
It's like, come on, it's forever, you know.
Like this light's been on for 3 months.
So I could stop and take a breath and listen to my breath or focus in on my breathing for 60 seconds. Any other tips that you would give where to start to get mindful and present during a busy day?
Here's one that I love to teach. How about when you answer the phone? How many of us actually pick the thing up before it even rings? We're like, oh, you know, we're just like so quick to jump. Being mindful answering the phone is actually letting it ring, and imagine letting it go to voicemail. Ooh, no way, I can't do that, right? But that's being mindful. It's taking a deep breath and just going. The phone's going to ring at least 6 times, folks. If you let it, it will ring. You know, and you can set it to ring longer if you need to. But take a deep breath and just, okay. And then, especially if it's one of those phone calls where every time that person calls you cringe, you're just like, oh, it's them again, right? Take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath. Here's another one, mindful standing in line. How many times have you stood in line for lunch, for whatever it is, and you're all over the place? You're not even present with the people around you. You're not, you know, people are always talking about, well, this person was getting beat up and nobody did anything. And that's because they didn't know. They're too busy being somewhere else. I don't think that they didn't want to help. I think we're just not present. So these are a couple little things that you can do. You know, I know that 60 seconds seems like a lot. I do, because I work with a lot of people that go 60 seconds. That sounds like forever. But the health benefits, the success benefits, the ability to own your life benefit is worth 60 seconds. You're worth 60 seconds. You're worth 60 seconds. I encourage you to do that today. 60 seconds. And I think you'll see the difference. By the way, everybody wears watches today, phones. This is one that you could tell today. Right now, when we get off this show or now, go in the features, like I have the Blaze watch. It tells me what my heart rate is. You want to know if you're present? Check your heart rate. If it's higher than it's supposed to be for your age, you're not present. You're scared. You're in fear. If it's below or at, you're doing good. Keep doing what you're doing.
Nice. So do you think that being mindful is not natural, or is it natural?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't think it's natural for us to be still. I think that's why we have a practice. The human condition. I mean, I think the number, I could be wrong, but I'm going to throw a number out there, but I think it's 55 to 65,000 thoughts per day. Now, how can you be mindful with that kind of stuff going through your brain, right? I don't think it's natural for us. I think we have to condition ourselves. But let me go back to what I said earlier, folks. This is just not a fad. This is not just the flavor of the month. This is a way to get everything you've ever desired in your life and to have peace and tranquility in the process. Be that radically mindful that your life brings you to peace and tranquility, and that no matter what happens, no matter what shows up, no matter what adversity, no matter what person is dying or not dying in your life, that you're able to stay so present that you recognize that it is not happening to you. It is happening for you.
Let that one sink in. It's not happening to you, but for you.
For you, yeah.
You know, I've been hearing a lot more here and there tidbits, just little that CEOs, not a lot, I should say, there's a small trend happening of CEOs actually taking time to be mindful, to meditate. What is the difference between mindfulness and meditation, if any?
Well, there is a difference. A meditation is a tool to get you to be mindful. Yoga is a tool to get you to be mindful. So that's why I'm saying if you meditate, it just brings you, meditation is designed to bring you into the present moment. The present moment and the awareness of the present moment is mindfulness. It's awareness. That is the whole practice of all these different modalities, is to get, because as you said a few minutes ago, it's not natural for us to be that way. It's natural for us to go, 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 especially in our modern day world. I don't know if that's true in every country, but it is in our modern day world where we're constantly moving. So meditation is a tool. Yoga is a tool. Breathing is a tool. All these things are tools to bring you into the present moment. The more you do that, I had a meeting with the president of a big bank in America. It's a global bank. And his question to me was not about finances. It was not about operations or the things that you think CEOs think about. His question to me was, how do I become a better person so that I can manage this monster I have in front of this multi-billion-dollar corporation? And again, I was saying, be mindful. Stop and do things. You can do a lot of things. You can eat mindfully. You can spend time with your loved one mindfully. You can spend time with your children mindfully. There's so many ways that you can be present to life. Go outside, and instead of running from the train to the next train or to the car, actually stop and recognize that typically on just about any day, the wind is blowing just enough that you could feel it on your face. That's presence.
And then we get to peace, and then we get to having a life that's filled with the things we want and not what we don't want. Am I missing a piece in there?
No, I think that that's the way it works. I mean, I think that what happened, let me tell you what happens when we get present. And this is the magic. When we get present, we get to deal with ourselves, which is why people don't do it. They get scared. But when we get present, we get to be part of a formula that is the success for all life, for all humans. And that is that we believe and we love something bigger than ourselves. You call it whatever you want. Number two, that you love yourself. And then number three, the result of that is that you love others. You can't get to number two, which is love myself, if you're not present. 90% of the people who get ready to go to work in the morning do so on automatic. They're usually somewhere between halfway to work or at work before they realize that all that stuff has just happened. It's automatic. They got dressed. They can't even look at themselves in the mirror because they don't love themselves. They're not present to that. Oh, I'm fat, too tall, too skinny. And so rather than do that, we skip over it. And then just like magic, I've done it, where you just wake up and you're like, who got me here an hour down the road? That's not mindful. That's not present. You're living your life on default. And so the gift is self-love.
Beautiful. So what if we have a very busy, noisy life? How do you recommend people deal with that?
Well, I have a story about that because I ran into that. I was speaking for Wall Street, and I just remember distinctly thinking I was on this who knows what floor of Manhattan, and I get everybody quiet because I wanted them to be present, and I hear and I thought, oh my gosh, it is loud here. Even if they're quiet, it was loud. And this is what I said to them, almost like it was a download because I was kind of panicking about, oh no, what do we do now? And I said, sometimes when you're around that kind of constant badgering of noise, you have to be in acceptance of the noise in order to get to a place where you are able to be present. In other words, if I resist the noise, it gets louder. If I resist the noise, I get to hear the baby crying, the car honking, and it becomes louder and louder. But when I accept that which is what I said to them, I said, I want you to accept the fact that this is where you live. This is your environment. You're not going to change that. But what you can do is accept the fact that it's there. And when you accept it, there's no resistance. And when there's no resistance, you can find peace and tranquility.
Beautiful. Wow. So no matter where you are, whether it's perfectly peaceful and quiet or there's lots going on, it's all about accepting what's so, then bringing that to get to the present. Because if you don't accept it, you're resisting it and you can't be present. If you accept it, then you are fully present. So acceptance, awareness, mindfulness, all tie together beautifully.
It's all tied together, and it's all part of our business success and our career success, and it's part of our entrepreneurial success, and it's part of our relational success. It's all part of all that, and the more we learn to do that, then the people, by the way, the people around us will not shift because we tell them they need to be mindful too. Our energy will shift, and that fight or flight to want to fight with your significant other will go away, and they will put down their arms. Because usually what happens with relationship is that two people are ready to do battle. So they get home ready to do battle. But when there's no battle energetically, then there's nothing there for them to be ready for.
And we can stop that energy by being present, is what you're saying.
Just be present. Accept what is, yeah.
Accept what is and what's so. And then come from intention. I heard that word intention in there as well.
Yeah, that intention.
So how can people learn about you and what you do with mindfulness?
Well, they can come to my website, danielgutierrez.com, and they can send me a note, say, hey, I want you to come speak to my company, or you want to work with me as a coach. I mean, I love what I do because I see the results. Not everybody's ready to be mindful. You said something that's very important. Are we designed to be mindful? I don't think so. I think it's quite opposite. But we can be. That's the beauty. We can be. And I love teaching people that I don't need to teach you how to be a better business person. I don't need to teach you how to be a better whatever it is that you do. What I want to do is help you be a better person in the moment, because all the answers are there. You ever heard that cliche? If all the answers that you ever could possibly are at they're there. Well, they're there if you can access them.
That's right.
How you access them. You get present.
Nice. So we'll put your website there. I know you do trips that also focus in on mindfulness with travel and mindfulness. That sounds like, wow, how to have the most rich travel experience. Be mindful. Hello. This is great. I love it. I found, and I don't know if this is so much mindfulness, but it brought me to a whole nother level of awareness. When you read a book, you get certain things out of it. When you read a book and you're discussing it with somebody, where you can be present with that person and with the book, I got so much more out of it. And so there's different ways to practice mindfulness, and I think that you have some incredible tools, whether it's using travel with all the other tools, coaching, and I know you're coming out with a book. Do you want to tell everybody about the book?
No, not yet.
Okay. Just know there's a book coming. And this is what we do at the Evolutionary Business Council. If you haven't checked us out, we're leaders who are bringing influence to each other. We're dedicated to that. If you want to see our other interviews and see how our leaders are impacting the world, go to ebc-live.com. We welcome you to watch them. Tune in every Wednesday. We're here at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and whatever in between or outside of that for your time zone is. I'm sorry, I can't translate everyone, but we will be here, and they are recorded. They are in our Facebook page at Evolutionary Business Council, and we'll see you next time. Daniel, is there anything you want to leave our viewers with? And if you have questions, by the way, viewers, feel free to put them in the comment area. You're welcome to share your thoughts.
Well, I'll just say this, and I end just about every interview or radio show that I do. Let me be the first or the last, if no one said to you today, to say, I love you.
Aw, that's a beautiful thing. Well, blessings to you. Love you. And namaste. And we will be back next week with another EBC Live. Bye for now, everyone.